My name is Trinity Watson, and today I'm walking into hell with a badge and a prayer. The Montgomery Correctional Facility looms before me like a fortress of broken dreams. At 32, I'd traded my corporate security desk for this maze of concrete and steel. The woman in the mirror this morning looked confident enough, blonde hair pulled back severely, blue eyes steady, but confidence and courage are different animals entirely. Watson, you're with Rodriguez today. Sergeant Miller barely glances up from his paperwork. The uniform feels foreign against my skin, heavy with responsibility I'm not sure I'm ready for. The clang of metal doors echoes through my bones as Rodriguez leads me through the maze. Rule 1, newbie. Never show fear. These women can smell weakness from 3 cells away. I nod, swallowing hard as we pass row after row of occupied cells. Some inmates stare boldly, others look away. A few make comments I pretend not to hear. This isn't what I expected when I left my comfortable office job. That old life had felt like sleepwalking. This feels like being shocked awake. Meanwhile, across town, Catherine Bennett stands before the Montgomery courthouse, her green eyes bright with possibility. At 28, she's already made a name for herself in historic restoration, but this project could define her career. The 1840s courthouse needs more than repair. It needs resurrection. Ms. Bennett? The city liaison approaches, clipboard in hand. The structural engineers finished their assessment yesterday. Catherine runs her fingers along the weathered brick, feeling the stories embedded in every crack. Her brunette hair catches the spring sunlight as she circles the building, noting each detail that needs attention. This isn't just about preserving architecture, it's about honoring the lives that passed through these halls. The foundation is solid, she murmurs to herself, though she knows foundations can be deceiving. That evening, both women find themselves staring at the same flyer in separate locations. Weekend pottery workshop, find your creative center. Trinity discovers it pinned to the bulletin board at her apartment complex. Catherine sees it at the coffee shop where she grabs her evening latte. Trinity fingers the flyer, weighing her options. Prison work demands so much mental armor. Maybe her hands need something gentle to balance the harsh reality of her days, something that doesn't involve handcuffs or security protocols. Catherine already knows she'll sign up. Her work requires precision and strength, but pottery offers something different. Clay responds to patience, to careful pressure. It might teach her something about restoration that blueprints can't. Neither woman realizes that in 3 days, their worlds will collide over a pottery wheel, setting in motion events that will challenge everything they thought they knew about themselves. Neither suspects that the foundation they're both seeking isn't made of concrete or clay, but something far more fragile and infinitely more valuable. The spring air carries possibilities neither of them dares to name yet. Saturday morning arrives with the kind of soft light that makes Montgomery look almost peaceful. I park outside the Arts Center, my hands still trembling slightly from yesterday's incident at the facility. A woman had lunged at another guard, and I'd moved without thinking, muscle memory from my security training kicking in. The adrenaline finally wore off around midnight. Inside, the pottery studio smells of earth and possibility. 10 people cluster around workbenches, but my attention snags on the brunette woman struggling with a piece of clay that seems determined to collapse. "Damn thing has a mind of its own," she mutters, pushing a strand of hair from her face with the back of her wrist. I approach her table, noting the architectural sketches spread beside her workspace. "Mind if I help? Your foundation's too thin." She looks up, and I'm struck by the most incredible green eyes I've ever seen. "Catherine Bennett," she says, offering a clay-covered hand, "and you're absolutely right about the foundation." Trinity Watson. I sit beside her, our shoulders almost touching as I demonstrate the technique. "You need to build from the center outward, like this." My hands guide hers, and something electric passes between us when our fingers meet. She smells like vanilla and sawdust, an oddly appealing combination that makes me want to lean closer. "You have steady hands," Catherine observes. "What do you do?" "Prison guard." The words slip out before I can soften them. Most people recoil at that admission. Instead, Catherine's eyes spark with interest. That must require incredible strength. Mental, more than physical. I press my thumbs into the clay, showing her how to create stability. "What about you?" "Historic building restoration. I'm actually working on the old courthouse downtown." We fall into easy conversation as our pottery takes shape. She tells me about preserving architectural integrity while updating structural systems. I find myself sharing stories about reading people, about the psychology of confined spaces. It's fascinating, Catherine says, leaning closer to examine my technique. You understand pressure points. The way she says it, with that slight breathiness, makes my pulse quicken. Our faces are inches apart now, and I can see tiny flecks of gold in her green eyes. Catherine. My voice comes out rougher than intended. Yes? The moment stretches between us, loaded with possibility. Then the instructor clears her throat nearby, and we both straighten, the spell momentarily broken. But something has shifted. The awareness crackling between us is impossible to ignore. When Catherine reaches for a tool, her fingers brush mine deliberately. When I lean over to help with her glazing, she doesn't pull away from my proximity. Would you like to see the courthouse project? She asks as we clean our clay-covered hands. I could show you Monday evening, if you're free. I'd like that. The words escape before my practical side can intervene. She writes her number on a scrap of paper, her handwriting neat and confident. When she hands it to me, our fingers linger together longer than necessary. Trinity, she says quietly, and I love the way my name sounds in her voice. Yeah? I'm really glad you helped me today. Walking to our cars, the spring air feels charged with potential. I watch Catherine drive away, already counting hours until Monday. In the space of 2 hours, something fundamental has shifted in my world. That night, I stare at her number, debating whether texting immediately seems too eager. Finally, I send, "Thanks for today. Looking forward to Monday." Her response comes quickly, "Me too. Sweet dreams, Trinity." I fall asleep with her name on my lips, and the memory of her hands under mine. Monday evening can't arrive fast enough. I change clothes 3 times before settling on jeans and a soft blue sweater that brings out my eyes. The courthouse sits in downtown Montgomery's historic district, its weathered brick facade hiding centuries of stories. Catherine waits by the front steps, her hair loose around her shoulders instead of pulled back like at the pottery studio. She looks younger this way, more approachable. "Ready for the grand tour?" she asks, producing an impressive set of keys. "Lead the way." Inside, the courthouse transforms under Catherine's passionate explanations. She guides me through chambers where history was made, pointing out original crown molding and hand-carved details most people would overlook. "See this pillar?" Her fingers trace intricate stonework. The mason carved his initials here in 1847. James Whitmore. I researched him, found he had 6 children and died building the state capitol. The reverence in her voice moves something deep in my chest. "You make them real again." Exactly. Her smile illuminates her entire face. Buildings aren't just structures, they're repositories of human experience. We climb the narrow staircase to the bell tower, Catherine's hand briefly steadying me when I stumble on uneven steps. The contact sends warmth racing up my arm. "The view is incredible," I breathe, looking out over Montgomery's lights. "I come up here when I need perspective." Catherine moves beside me, close enough that I catch her vanilla scent again. There's something about seeing the bigger picture. I understand. Prison work can make you forget there's a world beyond those walls. Is that why you changed careers? From corporate security? I consider deflecting, but something about her genuine curiosity invites honesty. I was suffocating behind a desk, needed something that mattered, even if it's harder. Brave choice. Or stupid. Same thing sometimes. We stand in comfortable silence, the city spreading below us. I'm hyper-aware of Catherine's presence. The way she breathes, how she unconsciously leans slightly toward me. "Trinity, can I ask you something?" My heart accelerates. "Sure." Have you ever felt like you were living someone else's life? The question hits deeper than expected. Every damn day until recently. What changed recently? I turned to face her fully, finding courage in her open expression. "Saturday. Meeting you." Catherine's breath catches audibly. We're standing so close now I can see each individual eyelash, the way her lips part slightly. "Catherine," I whisper. "Yes?" But instead of words, I close the distance between us. Our lips meet softly at first, tentative and questioning. Then Catherine's arms wind around my neck, pulling me deeper into the kiss. She tastes like coffee and possibility, and I lose myself completely in the warmth of her mouth. When we finally break apart, we're both breathing hard. Damn, Catherine whispers against my lips. Good damn or bad damn? Definitely good damn. Over the next 2 weeks, we fall into a pattern of coffee dates and evening walks through Montgomery's tree-lined streets. Catherine shows me hidden architectural gems, while I share stories about reading people, about the small victories that make my job worthwhile. There's this woman, Sarah, I tell her as we stroll past Victorian houses. 19 years old, in for robbery. Yesterday she asked me about getting her GED. That's huge. It is. Small steps matter. Catherine stops walking, turning to study my face. You really care about them? They're still human beings. Just ones who made bad choices. See, that's what I find so attractive about you. Her honesty makes my cheeks warm. You see potential where others see problems. That night, Catherine invites me to her apartment for dinner. It's a converted loft above a bookstore, filled with architectural drawings and restoration photographs. Everything reflects her careful attention to detail and respect for craftsmanship. You cooked, I observe, genuinely surprised by the elaborate spread. Don't sound so shocked. I have hidden talents. I'm discovering that. Throughout dinner, our conversation flows as naturally as breathing. Catherine tells me about growing up in small-town Georgia, how she fell in love with old buildings during childhood visits to her grandmother's antebellum house. I share memories of my father teaching me to recognize when people were lying, skills that served me in both security work and corrections. He sounds like a wise man, Catherine says. He was. Cancer took him 5 years ago. Her hand covers mine across the table. I'm sorry. He would have liked you. He appreciated people who saw beauty in broken things. Something shifts in Catherine's expression, vulnerability replacing her usual confidence. Trinity, there's something I should tell you. My stomach clenches. What? I've never felt this way about anyone before. Man or woman. You're my first real attraction to a woman. Relief floods through me. We'll figure it out together. Promise? I lift our joined hands to my lips, kissing her knuckles gently. I promise. Thursday morning finds me hauling scaffolding equipment up 3 flights of courthouse stairs. Catherine insisted she could manage the heavy restoration gear alone, but I couldn't let that happen. Prison work has given me muscle, and I want to use it for something beautiful for once. Trinity, you don't have to do this, Catherine protests, though she's clearly grateful as I position the final panel. I want to help. Sweat beads on my forehead despite the morning coolness. Besides, you're doing important work here. She looks radiant in the filtered sunlight streaming through tall windows, her hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. Dust motes dance around her as she examines original plasterwork that needs delicate repair. Hand me that chisel. Catherine points to her toolkit. I reach for it at the same moment she turns, and we collide softly. Her hands come up to steady herself against my chest, and suddenly we're breathing the same air. The courthouse fades around us. Catherine, I whisper, my voice rough with want. We shouldn't. Not here. But neither of us moves apart. Her fingers curl into my shirt, and I can feel her heartbeat racing against mine. The want in her green eyes mirrors my own desperate need. Trinity, I can't stop thinking about you. Her confession breaks something loose inside me. Then don't stop. Our lips crash together with weeks of built-up tension. This kiss is nothing like our gentle first one in the bell tower. It's hungry, demanding, full of everything we've been holding back. Catherine's mouth opens under mine, and I lose myself in her taste. My hands tangle in her hair as she presses closer, our bodies fitting together perfectly. She makes small sounds that drive me wild, her nails digging into my shoulders. Not here, she gasps against my mouth. My place, tonight. That evening, Catherine's apartment feels different, charged with anticipation. She's changed into a soft green dress that matches her eyes, and I can't stop staring at the way it moves with her body. Wine? She offers, but her voice shakes slightly. Later. I cross to her, cupping her face in my hands. Are you sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything. When I kiss her this time, it's with reverence, memorizing every detail. How she sighs softly when I trace her lower lip with my tongue. The way she melts against me when I kiss the sensitive spot below her ear. How her dress whispers to the floor like a prayer. We move to her bedroom as if in a dream, hands exploring, mouths never breaking contact for long. Catherine's skin is silk under my fingertips, and she responds to every touch with breathless wonder. When we finally come together on her bed, the world narrows to nothing but her warmth surrounding me, her name on my lips, the incredible intimacy of two souls finding home in each other. Afterward, we lie tangled together, bodies still humming with satisfaction, hearts beating in synchrony against sweat-dampened skin. That was incredible. Catherine breathes against my shoulder. You're incredible. Friday brings our first real test as a couple. Catherine has a meeting with city officials about the courthouse project, and I offer to drive her. You don't need to do that, she says, but I catch the nervousness in her voice. I want to support you. At City Hall, I wait in the lobby while Catherine presents her restoration timeline to a panel of stern-faced bureaucrats. Through the glass doors, I watch her command the room with quiet authority, pointing to architectural drawings and speaking with passionate expertise. 40 minutes later, she emerges with a radiant smile. They approved the full restoration budget, she announces, launching herself into my arms. I spin her around, both of us laughing. I'm so proud of you. Celebrate with me tonight? Always. That afternoon, spring rain catches us during our walk through downtown Montgomery. We duck into a covered pavilion, but we're already soaked, Catherine's dress clinging to her curves, my shirt transparent against my skin. We look like drowned rats, I laugh, pushing wet hair from my face. Speak for yourself. Catherine steps closer, her eyes dark with mischief. You look amazing wet. The air between us crackles with electricity. Rain drums against the pavilion roof, creating our own private world. Catherine's hands slide up my arms, her touch burning despite our damp clothes. Right here? I ask, though my body already knows the answer. Right here. She presses me against the pavilion wall, her mouth finding mine with desperate intensity. Rain and desire blur together as we lose ourselves in each other, hands roaming, hearts racing. The storm outside matches the tempest Catherine creates in my soul. When the rain finally stops, we walk home hand in hand, clothes gradually drying, hearts permanently changed. Something fundamental has shifted between us. We're no longer two separate women exploring attraction. We're falling irrevocably in love. That night, lying in Catherine's arms, I trace lazy patterns on her bare shoulder. Catherine? I think I'm falling in love with you. She turns in my arms, green eyes serious in the lamplight. I think I fell weeks ago. Good, I whisper, kissing her softly. Because there's no going back now. I wouldn't want to. 3 weeks into what Catherine and I have started calling us, I notice the silver sedan. First time, it's parked across from the courthouse when I pick Catherine up for lunch. Second time, outside the coffee shop where we grab our morning routine. Third time, I know we're being watched. Catherine, don't look, but there's a car that's been following us. I keep my voice casual as we walk toward her apartment. She tenses beside me. Are you sure? Prison guard instincts. Silver Camry, lone occupant, always maintains distance. That evening, Catherine's phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Interesting friends you're making these days. Attached is a grainy photo of us holding hands outside the arts center. Shit, Catherine's face goes pale. Who would do this? I study the photo, noting the angle and quality. Someone with decent equipment and patience. This isn't random. The next morning brings another message. Public figures should be more careful about their private lives. Public figures? Catherine frowns. I'm a restoration specialist, not a celebrity. Maybe they mean me. Prison employees are technically public servants. But doubt gnaws at me. This feels personal, calculated. Someone wants us scared. Tuesday afternoon, I'm leaving the facility when a woman approaches from the parking lot. She's maybe 35, blonde hair perfectly styled, carrying an expensive camera bag. Trinity Watson? Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. Who's asking? Amber Russell. Montgomery Insider Blog. I'd love to chat about your relationship with Catherine Bennett. My blood turns to ice. No comment. Come now. People are curious. Prison guard and historic preservationist make an interesting couple, especially when both are female. The way she emphasizes female makes my skin crawl. Stay away from us. Public interest, Trinity. Your lifestyle choices affect your ability to work with female inmates, don't you think? I step closer, using every inch of my height advantage. Lady, you have no idea who you're messing with. Amber's confidence wavers slightly. Is that a threat? It's a promise. Leave us alone. But as I drive to Catherine's, dread settles in my stomach. Amber Russell isn't some amateur gossip. Her blog has destroyed careers, ended marriages, ruined lives. And now she's targeting us. Catherine is waiting with wine and takeout, but one look at my face kills her welcoming smile. What happened? I tell her about Amber, watching Catherine's expression shift from confusion to fear to anger. She can't just invade our privacy like this, Catherine says. She can and she will unless we stop her. How? We can't make someone delete photos or stop following us. We could go to the police. And tell them what? That someone took pictures of us in public? That's not illegal. Catherine's right, and we both know it. Amber Russell operates in legal gray areas, using public interest as justification for harassment. That night, we lie awake discussing options. Catherine suggests we could simply ignore Amber, refuse to engage. I argue for confrontation, using my security background to intimidate her into backing off. What if we just went public ourselves? Catherine suggests. Take away her power by controlling our own narrative. Are you ready for that? Really ready? Her silence tells me everything. Neither of us is prepared for public scrutiny of our relationship. Friday brings the violation that changes everything. Catherine opens her apartment door to find an envelope slipped underneath. Inside are dozens of photos, intimate moments stolen from private spaces, us kissing in her apartment window, holding each other on her building's roof deck, my hand on her back as we enter a restaurant. She's been watching us for weeks, Catherine whispers, hands shaking as she flips through images. The final photo shows us from last night, visible through Catherine's bedroom curtains in a moment that should have been completely private. That's it. Rage builds in my chest, hot and dangerous. This ends now. Trinity, don't do anything rash. Rash? She's stalking us. Taking pictures through your bedroom window. This is beyond harassment. Catherine sinks onto her couch, overwhelmed. What does she want? The answer comes via email an hour later. Amber Russell wants an exclusive interview about our relationship, complete access to our love story, and permission to document our daily lives for a week. In exchange, she'll keep the more intimate photos private. It's blackmail, I say, reading over Catherine's shoulder. Technically, it's a business proposition. Don't even consider this. Catherine looks up at me with exhausted eyes. What choice do we have? My restoration project depends on city approval. If rumors start circulating about my personal life, they could pull funding. And my job security isn't exactly ironclad either. Female corrections officers face enough scrutiny without adding lesbian relationship to the mix. We're trapped, and Amber Russell knows it. She's counting on our fear, our need to protect the careers we've worked so hard to build. There has to be another way, I say. Like what? I pace Catherine's living room, mind racing through possibilities. Fight fire with fire, use Amber's tactics against her, or find something she values more than our story. Give me 24 hours, I tell Catherine. Don't respond to her yet. What are you planning? Something that might get us both in trouble. But it's better than letting her destroy us piece by piece. That night, I make phone calls to contacts from my corporate security days. If Amber Russell wants to play dirty, she's about to learn that prison guards know things about survival that bloggers can't imagine. My contacts from corporate security are more helpful than expected. Within 12 hours, I have enough information about Amber Russell to make her very uncomfortable. She's not as clean as her blog suggests, Marcus, my former colleague, explains over the phone. 3 harassment lawsuits settled out of court, 2 restraining orders filed against her, and she's currently behind on her rent. Money issues? Desperate ones. Her blog generates clicks but not enough revenue. She's 1 story away from bankruptcy. This information changes everything. Amber isn't just hunting us for sport, she needs us financially. That desperation makes her more dangerous, but also more vulnerable. Catherine meets me for lunch, dark circles under her beautiful green eyes. She hasn't slept since seeing those photos. Any luck with your research? She asks, though hope has mostly died in her voice. Maybe. Amber Russell isn't the untouchable blogger she wants us to believe. She's broke and scared. How does that help us? People make mistakes when they're desperate. We just need to catch her making one. That afternoon, I implement a plan that could backfire spectacularly. Using techniques learned in prison security, I begin counter-surveillance of Amber Russell. The silver Camry leads me to a rundown apartment complex on Montgomery's east side. Amber lives in Unit 2B, drives a car held together by prayer and stubbornness, shops at discount groceries with expired coupons. Her financial desperation is visible in every aspect of her life. More importantly, I document her following us. Every time she takes photos, I photograph her taking photos. When she parks outside Catherine's building, I record her license plate, timestamps, everything. Trinity, you're scaring me, Catherine says when I show her my evidence folder. What if she sees you watching her? Then she'll know how it feels to be hunted. Wednesday brings our first breakthrough. Amber makes a crucial mistake by following Catherine into a private construction area at the courthouse. The site is clearly marked with no trespassing signs, and Catherine's restoration crew has exclusive access during working hours. I'm positioned across the street when it happens, camera ready. Amber slips past barriers, ignoring safety warnings and legal postings, determined to get closer shots of Catherine working. The photos I capture show clear trespassing, violation of construction site safety regulations, and illegal entry into a government building renovation project. Got you, I murmur, reviewing the images. That evening, Catherine and I strategize over takeout Chinese food. The counter-surveillance has given us ammunition, but we need to be smart about using it. We could send these photos to the courthouse security, Catherine suggests. Or we could leverage them directly with Amber. Fight blackmail with blackmail? Fight fire with fire. Catherine considers this, twirling lo mein around her chopsticks. What's our endgame? Make her go away permanently, or just scare her off temporarily? Permanently. She won't stop until she has material that ruins us or makes her rich. Preferably both. Thursday brings the confrontation I've been planning. I intercept Amber outside the coffee shop where Catherine and I usually meet for morning drinks. Ms. Russell, we need to talk. Amber turns, startled but quickly recovering her composure. Trinity, what a coincidence. Cut the act. I know you've been watching this place every morning for 2 weeks. Public sidewalk, public figures. No law against journalism. I step closer, using presence rather than threats to make my point. Funny thing about journalism, it requires staying within legal boundaries. I haven't broken any laws. Really? I produce printed photos of her trespassing at the courthouse. Government building, posted construction zone, multiple safety violations. Amber's confidence crumbles as she recognizes herself in the images. You were watching me? Learning from the best. You've taught me so much about surveillance techniques. This is harassment. This is documentation, just like your photos of us. The irony isn't lost on either of us. Amber Russell, professional stalker, doesn't enjoy being the target of scrutiny. What do you want? She asks, all pretense dropped. Delete every photo you have of us. Stop following us. Find a different story to chase. Or what? Or I send these trespassing photos to courthouse security, the city attorney, and your landlord. Then I file harassment charges and restraining orders. Then I contact those 3 women who already sued you and offer to help with a group lawsuit. Amber's face goes white. You researched me. Prison guards are thorough. We have to be. The standoff stretches between us, two women who understand exactly how much the other has to lose. Amber's blog versus my documentation. Her financial desperation versus my determination to protect Catherine. This isn't over, Amber finally says. Yes, it is. Unless you want it to get much worse for you. I watch Amber drive away, knowing this victory might be temporary. Desperate people don't give up easily, and I've just made myself her primary enemy instead of her victim. That evening, Catherine greets me with a kiss that tastes like relief and gratitude. Did it work? She asks against my lips. For now, but we need to stay vigilant. Together? Always together. As we hold each other on her couch, I can't shake the feeling that Amber Russell isn't finished with us. Cornered animals are the most dangerous kind, and I've just backed her into a very small corner. The real test comes tomorrow. Amber Russell doesn't retreat quietly into the night like I'd hoped. Instead, she comes at us from a completely different angle, one I never saw coming. Friday morning, my supervisor calls me into his office before my shift starts. Captain Morrison sits behind his desk with the expression he reserves for delivering bad news. Watson, we need to discuss your personal conduct. My stomach drops. Sir? Anonymous tip came in yesterday. Allegations about inappropriate relationships affecting your professional judgment. What kind of allegations? Morrison slides a manila folder across his desk. Inside are printed screenshots from Amber's blog. Recent posts about public servants whose private lives compromise their duties. She's been careful not to name us directly, but the implications are crystal clear. A local corrections officer involved with someone who has access to government buildings. Questions about security risks and professional ethics. This is speculation and innuendo, I say, keeping my voice steady. Is it? Are you involved with Catherine Bennett? The direct question hangs between us like a loaded weapon. Lying would protect my job but betray everything Catherine and I have built together. My personal relationships don't affect my work performance. That's not what I asked. With respect, sir, my private life is private. Morrison leans back in his chair, studying me. Trinity, I've got 3 county commissioners asking questions about security protocols. When public officials start questioning our procedures, everyone's job becomes less secure. The threat is implicit, but clear. My relationship with Catherine isn't just affecting me anymore, it's creating problems for my entire unit. I need 48 hours to resolve this situation, I tell him. You have 24. Meanwhile, Catherine faces her own crisis at the courthouse. City officials who approved her restoration budget enthusiastically just weeks ago now express concerns about project oversight. Miss Bennett, we've received some troubling information about your professional associations, the lead councilman explains during an hastily called meeting. Catherine maintains her composure, but I can see the strain in her shoulders when she recounts the conversation later. They wouldn't say what information or who provided it, but suddenly they want daily progress reports and additional oversight committees. Amber's trying to destroy us professionally since she can't exploit us personally. It's working. That evening, we sit in Catherine's apartment trying to strategize our next move. The walls that once felt cozy now seem to be closing in around us. We could break up publicly, Catherine suggests quietly. Remove ourselves as targets. Fake breakup or real breakup? I don't know anymore. The defeat in her voice cuts deeper than any threat Amber could make. Catherine, look at me. She meets my eyes, and I see the woman I've fallen completely in love with, scared and vulnerable. We don't let her win. Whatever it takes, we fight this together. How? Our careers are everything we've worked for. And we're everything I never knew I needed. I pull her close, feeling her body relax against mine. I have an idea, but you might not like it. Tell me. We go nuclear, complete transparency. Beat Amber at her own game? Meaning? We control our narrative. Hold our own press conference. Tell our story on our terms, before she can twist it into whatever serves her agenda. Catherine pulls back to look at me. You're talking about coming out publicly. Everyone will know. Everyone who matters already knows or doesn't care. It's the people who don't matter who are causing problems. Trinity, are you sure about this? There's no going back once we're public. Instead of answering with words, I kiss her. Soft at first, then deeper as weeks of stress and fear transform into desperate need. Catherine responds with equal intensity, her hands tangling in my hair as we pour everything we can't say into the connection between our lips. I'm sure, I whisper against her mouth. Are you? I'm terrified. Good. Means it matters. We make love that night with an intensity born of knowing everything might change tomorrow. Catherine's touch becomes worship, my response becomes promise. We memorize each other's bodies as if preparing for battle, because in many ways we are. Afterward, lying tangled together, Catherine traces patterns on my bare shoulder. What if this backfires? What if going public makes everything worse? Then we face it together, but at least we'll be telling the truth instead of hiding from lies. Saturday morning, I contact the local newspaper and request an interview. Not about scandal or controversy, but about two women building careers and finding love in Montgomery, Alabama. Human interest story, I tell the lifestyle editor. Local prison guard and historic preservationist. Community service and preservation. Getting to know your neighbors. The angle works. They agree to meet with us Sunday afternoon. No backing down now, I tell Catherine as we prepare for what might be the most important conversation of our lives. No backing down, she agrees, though I can see the fear still lingering in her beautiful green eyes. Whatever happens next, we'll face it as the team we've become. Amber Russell wanted to destroy us by exposing our secret. Instead, she's about to discover what happens when two women in love stop being afraid of the truth. The newspaper interview takes place at a downtown Montgomery cafe, neutral territory, where Catherine and I can present ourselves as ordinary citizens rather than scandal fodder. Jessica Martinez, the lifestyle reporter, brings a photographer who focuses on candid shots rather than invasive paparazzi angles. Tell me how you met, Jessica begins, her tone genuinely interested rather than sensational. Catherine and I exchange glances, and something passes between us. The fear that's been shadowing us for weeks begins to lift as we recount our pottery workshop encounter. Trinity helped me with my clay foundation, Catherine says, her smile reaching her eyes for the first time in days. And Catherine showed me that broken things could be beautiful again, I add, meaning both the courthouse and something deeper about myself. The photographer captures moments I didn't know were happening. Catherine laughing at my description of prison politics, my hand covering hers when she talks about her father's encouragement to pursue restoration work. This feels natural, Jessica observes. How long have you been together? Almost 2 months, Catherine answers, though it feels like we've known each other much longer. When the interview publishes Tuesday morning, it's everything we hoped for. A positive story about two professionals contributing to their community, who happen to have found love along the way. The headline reads, Building Foundations, Prison Guard and Preservationist Find Love While Serving Montgomery. But Amber Russell isn't finished with us yet. Wednesday afternoon, I'm leaving the courthouse after helping Catherine with equipment when a car door slams behind me. Amber approaches with renewed confidence, her camera equipment more professional than before. Clever move with the newspaper, she says, but you can't control every narrative. Watch us, I reply, but something in her demeanor has shifted. She's not the desperate, cornered woman from our last encounter. I've been doing research into your background, Trinity. Interesting career change from corporate security. Tell me, what really happened at Morrison Industries? My blood turns to ice. Morrison Industries was 3 years ago, a situation I'd hoped would stay buried forever. Nothing that concerns you. Sexual harassment complaint filed against you. Settled quietly, sealed records. But I have sources. The world tilts sideways. That complaint was baseless, filed by a disgruntled colleague after I refused her advances. The settlement was cheaper than a legal battle, but it left a permanent shadow on my employment record. That was investigated and dismissed. Settlement suggests otherwise. How does it feel knowing your current employer might be interested in this information? Amber's smile is pure predator now. She's found the weapon she needs to destroy me regardless of public sympathy. What do you want? Exclusive access to your relationship. Real intimacy, not newspaper fluff. I want inside your lives, your private moments, your bedroom if necessary. Never. Then I guess Captain Morrison gets an interesting phone call tomorrow. Catherine appears beside me, having overheard enough to understand the threat. Trinity, what's happening? Amber turns her attention to Catherine with venomous sweetness. Just discussing some career complications. Nothing dear Catherine needs to worry about. Don't you dare speak to her. Or what? You'll assault me too? Because that's what happened at Morrison Industries, wasn't it? Physical aggression when your advances were rejected? The lie hits like a punch to my gut. Amber has twisted the entire situation, making me the aggressor instead of the victim. Catherine steps forward, her voice deadly calm. Ms. Russell, I believe you should leave now. And I believe your girlfriend should consider how her past might affect your future projects. The implicit threat to Catherine's restoration work sends rage coursing through my veins. Bad enough that Amber wants to destroy my career, but threatening Catherine crosses every line. You've made your point, I tell Amber. We'll be in touch. 24 hours, she replies, climbing back into her car. Then the past becomes the present for both of you. That evening, Catherine finds me sitting on her apartment balcony staring at Montgomery's skyline without really seeing it. Tell me what really happened at Morrison Industries, she says, settling beside me. I recount the whole ugly story. Sarah Chen, frustrated by her own stalled career, convinced that sexual favors would advance her position. When I rejected her advances professionally and personally, she filed harassment charges claiming I'd abused my authority as senior security officer. The company wanted it to disappear quietly. Cheaper to pay settlement than fight publicly, even though internal investigation cleared me completely. Why didn't you tell me before? Because it's the kind of thing that follows you forever. Mud sticks, even when you're innocent. Catherine takes my hand, intertwining our fingers. Are you going to let Amber destroy us with lies? I don't know how to stop her anymore. Yes, you do. I turn to meet Catherine's determined green eyes. We fight back with truth. All of it, ugly parts included. Strip away her power by removing our secrets. Catherine, this could ruin everything we've built. So could hiding and letting her control our lives forever. That night, we make love with desperate intensity, knowing tomorrow might change everything between us. Catherine's touch becomes fierce possession, my response becomes absolute surrender. We claim each other completely, two women refusing to let fear win. Whatever happens tomorrow, I whisper against her skin, I love you. I love you too, she replies, pulling me closer. That's why we're going to fight. Morning brings a phone call to Jessica Martinez, and a request for a follow-up interview. This time, we're ready to tell the whole truth. Even the parts that might destroy us. The second newspaper interview happens at Catherine's apartment, our choice this time. Jessica Martinez arrives with her photographer, both carrying the weight of a story that's grown beyond simple human interest. You called this meeting, Jessica says, settling into Catherine's living room. What's changed since Tuesday? Catherine and I sit close together on the couch, our hands intertwined like a lifeline. Someone is trying to use our past against us, I begin. We want to control our own narrative. What kind of past? I take a deep breath and tell Jessica everything. The Morrison Industries situation, the false harassment charges, the settlement that branded me guilty in public perception despite vindication in private investigation. I was the victim who got blamed, I explain. Now someone wants to use that against both of us. Catherine squeezes my hand tighter. Trinity is the most ethical person I know. She left corporate security because she wanted work that mattered. She became a prison guard to help people, not hurt them. Can you prove the charges were false? I have the internal investigation report, Catherine says, producing a manila folder. Trinity showed me everything last night. The company cleared her completely. Jessica examines the documents, her expression growing more serious. This is substantial. Why didn't Morrison Industries make this public? Legal departments prefer quiet settlements to public vindication, I answer. Bad publicity costs more than hush money. The photographer captures candid moments throughout our conversation. Catherine explaining how my integrity attracted her, me describing how Catherine's passion for restoration inspired my own healing process. Someone threatened to expose this? Jessica asks. A local blogger named Amber Russell. She wants exclusive access to our private lives in exchange for silence. That sounds like extortion. It is extortion, Catherine confirms. We decided truth was better than blackmail. When the article publishes Friday morning, the headline reads, "Love Under Fire. Local couple confronts harassment and extortion." The response is immediate and overwhelming. Captain Morrison calls within an hour of publication. "Watson, get to my office now." I drive to the facility expecting termination. Instead, Morrison slides another folder across his desk. "Legal department had interesting conversations yesterday," he says. "Seems Amber Russell contacted them directly, trying to sell information about you." "Sir? Attempted extortion of a public employee is a felony, Trinity. We're pressing charges. You're not firing me?" Morrison actually smiles. "Your work record speaks for itself. One false complaint 3 years ago doesn't erase 2 months of exemplary performance here. Thank you, sir." "Don't thank me yet. Media attention means extra scrutiny for a while. You comfortable with that? As long as Catherine and I face it together." Meanwhile, Catherine gets her own vindication. The city council holds an emergency meeting to address the harassment of their restoration contractor. "Miss Bennett, we owe you an apology," the lead councilman states publicly. "External pressure influenced our judgment inappropriately. Does this affect my project timeline? We're actually accelerating it." This situation highlighted how valuable your work is to Montgomery's cultural preservation. That evening, we celebrate at our favorite restaurant, no longer caring who sees us together. Other diners smile and nod, recognizing us from the newspaper coverage. "Look at that," Catherine observes, gesturing around the room. "People supporting us instead of judging us. Maybe we should have trusted folks more from the beginning. Maybe we should have trusted ourselves more." A week later, legal consequences catch up with Amber Russell. Police arrest her for attempted extortion, harassment, and trespassing. Her blog disappears overnight, taking her threats with it. "Justice served?" Catherine asks, reading the arrest report. "Justice served." 6 months pass before we fully understand how profoundly our lives have changed. Catherine's courthouse restoration becomes a model project, earning state recognition for historic preservation excellence. My work at the correctional facility expands into prisoner rehabilitation programs. "Sarah got her GED," I tell Catherine one evening, fresh from a graduation ceremony. "She wants to study social work." "That's incredible. You inspire more than old buildings, you know. You showed me that broken things can be beautiful again." Catherine laughs, the sound filling our shared apartment with warmth. We showed each other. The apartment itself represents our new foundation. Catherine's architectural drawings share wall space with my criminal justice textbooks. Her restoration photographs document progress alongside my rehabilitation program certificates. "Trinity," Catherine says one morning over coffee, "I have something for you." She produces a small pottery piece, glazed in blues and greens that match our favorite coffee shop. It's imperfect, clearly handmade, absolutely beautiful. "It's a bowl," she explains unnecessarily. "I made it at the studio where we met." "It's perfect." "No, it's not. See this crack along the rim? I tried to fix it, but the glaze makes it more visible." I run my fingers along the flaw, tracing the golden repair Catherine used to mend the break. Kintsugi. Japanese art of golden repair. Making broken things more beautiful than they were before. You know about kintsugi? Prison library has interesting books. Inmates aren't the only broken things that can be made beautiful again. Catherine's eyes fill with tears, happy ones this time. "I love you, Trinity Watson." "I love you too, Catherine Bennett." Outside our apartment window, Montgomery spreads under Alabama sunshine, a city where 2 women built something lasting from clay and courage. Where love survived harassment and emerged stronger. Where foundations, once cracked, became unbreakable through golden repair. Where our story continues, no longer hidden but celebrated, no longer secret but treasured by a community that chose love over fear. Just the way it should be.